Hi, evening. Welcome to the Transfer Show. Dharmesh, Sheth is here with Kaveh Solhekol and Melissa Reddy to reflect the day's top transfer news. We've got some good stuff for you in the next half hour. No messing about. Let's kick off with an interview with the Manchester United manager, Erik ten Hag.
We know what we want, and it's not about signing players, it's about signing the right players. And so we are really planning it careful, and we are strict to that and hard working to get the right players in, to construct a good squad, a squad who can win games.
Frankie de Jong, the right type of player, can you tell us anything about that?
No, I can't. I don't talk about a player who is not under contract in Manchester United.
I just have one on Cristiano Ronaldo, because a lot of the talk at the moment is about what he wants to do. For him now, as great a player as he's been, how does he fit in with what you want to do and the style of football you want to play?
I think he can, but it starts with he has to get fit. He just started, and he's a fantastic football player. He proved it so many times. But you can always be judged by what you are now, what you are presenting now, performing now. So the team and Cristiano by himself has to prove it.
Great to hear from Erik ten Hag. Dharmesh, he says Ronaldo's fantastic, he can fit in, needs to get fit. What more is there to say?
Everything's perfect, isn't it, in Ronaldo and Manchester United's world? Unfortunately, all is not well. If you go back to Sunday, Manchester United played Rayo Vallecano in a pre-season friendly. Ronaldo played the first half and he left the stadium early. Now, at the time, the club had no issue. That was the public persona of it all. No problem. He was one of a number of players who was allowed to leave the ground early, presumably to beat the traffic. But Erik ten Hag, the manager, hasn't backed up that feeling since. He spoke to Dutch TV yesterday, and this is what Erik ten Hag had to say about that Ronaldo situation on Sunday.
In het begin van het gesprek hebben we jouw punctualiteit benadrukt, je gedetailleerde manier van werken en inderdaad werken aan dat teamproces. Maar hij komt binnen wanneer hij wil, hij gaat ook weer weg wanneer hij wil. Hoe ga je daarmee om?
Nou, hij is vanwege persoonlijke omstandigheden in het privésfeer was hij afwezig. Dus het is niet zoals jij het stelt.
Maar tegen Vallecano van het weekend gaat hij na de rust naar huis.
Daar waren er veel meer die naar huis gingen.
Dus dat heb jij maar even door de vingers gezien?
Zeker niet, het is onacceptabel voor iedereen.
Wat doe je dan?
Nou, dat vertel ik ze. Dat het onacceptabel is, dat we een team zijn, dus een selectie. En dat je tot het einde toe dient te blijven.
I think it is unacceptable, says Erik ten Hag. And I think it's one of the first public displays of dissatisfaction towards Cristiano Ronaldo. You just have to look back at what has happened in the past month. Ronaldo and Jorge Mendes, his agent, seem to put United in quite a difficult position. And we've been speaking about this in the last 2 or 3 weeks, about what the next move would be for Cristiano Ronaldo. I just wonder now, is Erik ten Hag leaning towards, look, this is a problem, we need to sort out this problem, and if that means Cristiano Ronaldo leaving, I just wonder what that does to any kind of deal that Manchester United would want to do. Publicly, they're saying, look, he's not for sale, but if they were to do business with Cristiano Ronaldo and another club, given the position that United are in just now and the dissatisfaction Erik ten Hag seems to be showing, are they going to get the deal that they potentially would have wanted when Ronaldo said, I want to leave the club, I want to play Champions League football? Because now it is obvious that there is an issue there.
Well, are they, Kaveh, going to get the deal?
What I've been told is that this whole situation is a circus that Manchester United could do without. Now, as far as Erik ten Hag and his coaching team are concerned, everybody started with a clean slate. So they were willing to say to Cristiano Ronaldo, look, you were part of our plans, everyone's got a clean slate, including you. We know you've won the Ballon d'Or 5 times, prove to us that you want to be here, prove to us that you want to be part of Manchester United's future. He hasn't done that. For his own reasons, some people will say understandable reasons, because he's got personal goals in the Champions League that he wants to keep chasing. He has said, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be part of the future of Manchester United. Now, the issue is that Manchester United don't have an offer on the table that they can accept for the player. So what is going to happen? I asked the question today. If an offer doesn't come in, what is going to happen the day after deadline day, 2nd of September? Will Cristiano Ronaldo knuckle down and work? And what I was told is that is what he's going to have to do if no offers come in for him. It's all well and good him being petulant and unhappy and leaving games early and appearing to challenge the manager's authority. But the bottom line is he's got a contract. Either an acceptable offer has to come in for him, or Manchester United have to agree to terminate his contract. And it doesn't look like they're going to do that. I was also told there is no way Cristiano Ronaldo would be behaving like this if Sir Alex Ferguson was the Manchester United manager. Because of his relationship with Sir Alex, he would not be doing this. Now, I'm not criticising Cristiano Ronaldo. I can see both sides of the argument. When United signed him, he was expecting to be playing in the Champions League. I think once it became clear that United hadn't qualified for the Champions League, it was always likely that Ronaldo was going to leave. It is just unfortunate that it ended up the way it has.
The thing with this entire situation is United don't have any decision to make because, like Kaveh is saying, there's no offer on the table. Cristiano's been publicly available for the last month, and elite clubs have lined up to distance themselves from the deal publicly. We've had Chelsea, Atletico Madrid, Napoli, all say, Bayern Munich, all say it's not a possibility for them. So Ronaldo's left with a situation where at the moment it looks like the only plausibility for what would be emotive reasons and, you know, the commercial gain from it and the massive boost it would do to Portuguese football is a return to Sporting. Now, that would come with, obviously, a massive pay cut, which, from his end, it's been quite obvious he's happy to take, if it would give him a shot at the Champions League. But Sporting are pretty much only guaranteed group games there, unless he believes he can...
He probably does believe that.
Into the knockout stages, which he does. But United are quite comfortable in the fact that unless an offer materializes, he has to knuckle down. He's returned to training. He's tried to, you know, engage with the fan base, going and clapping them at Old Trafford, signing autographs. So that it does look like on his side that there might be a bit of acceptance that what he wanted to happen hasn't really happened. No big club has come in for him. But the issue we have, and it's a matter of authority, Erik ten Hag is in control. And on that pre-season tour, everything went his way. Ronaldo returns and suddenly, you know, leaving games early, having a little tense encounter with Ten Hag on the touchline when he was trying to give him instructions on Sunday. All these things are a question to the manager's authority, which is not helpful when he is trying to set clear discipline, and when he's made it, every player that we interviewed on pre-season tour said, if you do not follow his way, you will be out. So are we going to see, if Ronaldo carries on with these breaches, will he be out? Is that the other way to get this exit, to force United into a position where he's continuously questioning the manager's control, and thus it's unhelpful to keep him long term?
But he still needs a club to want to come in for him.
Yeah, but what I would say with that is, if Erik ten Hag decides, look, I'm the boss, and as Melissa said, everything that Erik ten Hag displayed on that pre-season tour showed that he is the boss. This is the one time where it's being called into question. But from that interview, he's re-establishing himself in this situation to say, I'm not here to take any messing here. I'm the boss at this football club. Now, if it gets to the point where Erik ten Hag decides, look, we need to have him out of the club because it's too much disruption. There's too many negative headlines to it. There's going to need to be concessions on two sides, potentially. Because if there are all of these clubs who are falling over themselves not to sign Cristiano Ronaldo, simply because Kaveh was mentioning during the whole week, he's on about £500,000 a week, Manchester United, for one, will probably have to forego a transfer fee because clubs are unlikely to want to pay a transfer fee for a 37-year-old player. And number two, Cristiano Ronaldo may need to take a pay cut himself as well. £500,000 a week for a 37-year-old is unlikely to be very, very good for any potential buying or a club that wants Cristiano Ronaldo. So Ronaldo has always said, I want to be playing in the Champions League. He's got this personal battle with Lionel Messi, hasn't he, as well? He wants to maintain his position as the top Champions League goal scorer. If he remains at United, it's not going to happen this season because United aren't in the Champions League. But for him to go to a Champions League club, there will have to be concessions, particularly on Ronaldo's side.
So are you all saying, briefly, are you all saying that you're slightly leaning towards the idea that he actually might be staying after all?
What I would
whether
say
he wants
is
to or not.
If you speak to people close to Ronaldo, just putting the other side of the story, they would say that there is interest in him, but not at the moment with the figures being quoted. If you're talking about a £12 million transfer fee plus his wages and a 2-year deal, that is a £64 million investment on a 37-year-old player. Now, the clubs who are interested out there would prefer it if he was a free agent. And I think Ronaldo's camp would prefer it if he was a free agent, because then you can take Manchester United out of the equation. So he's willing to take a pay cut. I think if he was a free agent, there would be a lot more interest in him.
At this point, it's still a heap of money, isn't it?
It is still a lot of money, but you're talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. You're talking about a player who a lot of people would say is the greatest player of all time. Maybe not people of my generation. We would lean more towards people like Maradona, George Best, Johan Cruyff. But the younger generation, people will say Ronaldo or Lionel Messi. If Ronaldo is available as a free agent this summer, lots of clubs will be interested in signing him.
But he'll have to take a pay cut. He'll have to take a pay cut still.
So it depends how much he values his legacy, in a way.
What he wants is to play in the Champions League. Yeah. If Manchester United were in the Champions League, he would be more than happy to stay. It's the be-all and end-all of everything is the Champions League.
You really think lots of clubs would those are your words, lots of clubs.
If he takes a pay cut.
Not in this country, surely.
In this country,
Who are the lots of clubs?
There are the clubs you would expect to be interested in a player of the calibre of Cristiano
Well, you've got to be talking
Ronaldo.
you've got to be between the 4 Champions League clubs, otherwise it's a pointless conversation. So it's not going to fit into Liverpool's plans, is it? Does Pep Guardiola want that kind of disruption?
Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. I think Ronaldo would be willing to play for Manchester City.
He might be,
but that would be a problem.
But does Guardiola want that?
It's not who Ronaldo is willing to play for. Who's willing to want Cristiano Ronaldo? At the moment, for the past month, there's been nothing. Now you're saying if he's available as a free agent, maybe lots of clubs would come in for him.
Yeah,
but
if he took a pay cut.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying what I'm saying is
what is plausible? Which clubs are plausible? Because a lot of them have not given themselves any wiggle room with the statements they've put out. If Bayern go and sign Cristiano, there will be an uproar from their fan base. They have made it abundantly clear that they don't want him. Now, Chelsea, who are shopping for everyone available, you might think at the end of the window they could think, well, he's somebody
I'm saying it's not my opinion. I'm just saying what I've been told is that you shouldn't paint it out as if Cristiano Ronaldo is on the scrap heap and nobody wants him. I've been told if the numbers are right, there are lots of clubs who would be interested in signing him.
The transfer fee is going to be negligible.
Lots of
we were
Champions
discussing
League
this
clubs.
yesterday.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to the wages, and a lot of these clubs are not interested in Cristiano Ronaldo at the prices and the wages being quoted. If those wages came down, who's to say some of these clubs who weren't interested before would be interested in Cristiano Ronaldo? The only issue that United are going to have is if they grant Cristiano Ronaldo, right, you can rip up your contract, you're a free agent, they lose the control of where he can go. Because while he's still a United player, and if they were to say, right, you can go, they can dictate to a certain extent, right, we don't want you playing for a direct rival of ours. We want you to go abroad or something like that.
Yeah. All right. We could do another 45 minutes on this and more. I don't want to forget the other big potential incoming for Manchester United, which we can do a little bit later on. But right now, we're going to take a short break and come back with news of all 20 clubs in our Premier League round. Let's go. Yeah, it's a good point there about the wrap, yeah.
Time now to go around the clubs.
Appreciate it, Kaveh. Arsenal striker Folarin Balogun has joined Reims on a season-long loan.
Carney Chukwuemeka is having his medical at Chelsea after Aston Villa decided to sell him in a deal worth up to £20 million.
Bournemouth have bids in for 3 central defenders, one of which is Liverpool's Nat Phillips.
Brentford are still working hard on a deal for Sampdoria's midfielder Mikel Damsgaard.
Brighton are standing firm on their valuation of Marc Cucurella as Chelsea push to sign him before the deadline.
Speaking of Chelsea, they've held talks with Barcelona about signing Frankie de Jong. Of course, Jorginho and N'Golo Kante are both out of contract next summer.
Crystal Palace, they still want to sign a right-back and are interested in a return for Aaron Wan-Bissaka on loan from Manchester United.
Richarlison has gone and Dominic Calvert-Lewin is out for a month. Everton linked with replacement forwards including Armando Broja, Michy Batshuayi and Ludovic Ajorc.
Fulham's focus is on a centre-back after announcing the signing of Bernd Leno from Arsenal.
Helder Costa is expected to leave Ellen Road this summer. Al Ittihad in Saudi Arabia said to be interested.
Goalkeeper Kasper Schmeichel is in Nice, finalising a move from Leicester City.
Nat Phillips could be leaving Liverpool this month. Interest from Fulham and Bournemouth.
Manchester City are in talks to sign the Anderlecht left-back Sergio Gomez.
Manchester United are stepping up their interest in RB Leipzig forward Benjamin Sesko. There is, though, a big gap in valuation.
Newcastle United are deciding whether to make a third bid for Leicester City midfielder James Maddison.
Jesse Lingard says he turned down more lucrative offers from abroad to sign for Forest. Lingard one of 12 signings this summer.
Don't think they're finished either. Highly rated Southampton midfielder Kamari Doyle has signed his first professional contract with the club.
The focus is on departures at Spurs. They're willing to listen to offers for Winks, Lo Celso, Ndombele and Tanganga.
West Ham United have agreed a deal to sign Amadou Onana from Lille and are in talks with Burnley over Maxwell Cornet.
The Wolves are in the market for another centre-forward, Ben Breton Diaz. At Blackburn, the latest name to be linked.
And as I was hinting a few minutes ago, the other issue for Manchester United that we know about at least is Frankie de Jong, who still hasn't arrived. Weeks on, Melissa, do United think he'll be their player come September the 2nd?
Well, they might be getting very nervous given Chelsea's interest, and Chelsea's co-owner has a very good relationship with Laporte of Barcelona. So there would be no issue, I think, for Chelsea to agree a similar deal with Barcelona for Frankie de Jong. Now, the issue is, would he, if he had the choice between United and Chelsea, who would he select? And Chelsea are obviously in the Champions League. United have the Ten Hag factor. But the other thing is, underpinning all of this is the player's first preference is to stay at Barcelona. And for financial reasons, they are pushing him out. So if there's a solution to the financial reasons, does the eventuality mean he will remain where he wants to be? There's so many things up in the air, and the main problem for United is they've spent so long and put so much energy into this deal because he is Ten Hag's priority target, and it is the key position that the club have been trying to strengthen for years. But if this doesn't get done, it looks very, very bad on them.
So how much energy are Chelsea putting into getting de Jong?
They're putting a significant amount of energy into trying to sign him. They need to refresh their midfield. We mentioned players like Jorginho, Kante are out of contract next summer. And as we've seen, the new regime at Chelsea have been very, very active in the transfer market. And it's not often a player of de Jong's quality becomes available. And for various reasons, financial reasons, Barcelona are willing to do business. I think the whole issue, of course, is his deferred wages. He's owed about £14 million by Barcelona. Barcelona want the buying club to pay that. They don't want to pay it themselves. So I think it is going to come down to the money. If Chelsea are willing to pay those deferred wages, and I think there's a good chance that he could end up at Chelsea this summer.
And one potential worry, though, for Manchester United as well. Melissa mentioned the Champions League factor. Chelsea have got a couple of players that Barcelona are interested in Cesar Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso. I just wonder whether Chelsea will try and formulate a deal whereby those two players go to the new camp and form part of the deal that brings Frankie de Jong to Stamford Bridge. But as Melissa alluded to there, it is going to be a huge blow to Manchester United if, after all of this time chasing this player, Chelsea just pop up and steal him from under their noses. But as we've been saying, they have got other targets that they are looking at, the likes of Ruben Neves. But then, if that's the case and they don't get de Jong, think about what Wolves will do in their position. Well, we'll just charge you £75 million because you were prepared to pay that for Frankie de Jong.
Fascinating. Thank you all very much. Melissa Reddy, Kaveh Solhekol, Dharmesh, Sheth. A whole hour of the transfer show at 7 o'clock tonight. In the meantime, Sky Sports News continues. We'll bring you more from Erik ten Hag. We're also live at the launch of the 100. Stay with us.